What is a programming language?
Language which we means what we means.
Programming language is a language we generally it
What
consists of
instructions we give to the
instructions.
computers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All
it
right.
consists of instructions in the way computer can understand.
Okay. Fine. I think yeah, we are getting close there. Okay. So let me just give a quick example. So everybody, like for example, everybody has their own mother tongue, right? So mine is Kannada, and then I'm sure Shreyas is Gujarati.
Yes,
Okay. And then how about you, Sumit?
Bengali.
Okay, fine. So each of us who are present in this class, right, have our own mother tongue or native language that we speak, right? And then we acquired a few languages going forward. Okay, but so just think about it. What happens, when someone talks to you? So, for example, if I'm talking to you in English, but behind the scene, you're actually making sense of it in your mother tongue.
Right.
Okay, and then whenever you want to speak, right? So that time also you're actually constructing the phrases in your mother tongue and then you're talking about it.
Right.
Okay. So that's why you see a lot of people speaking broken English. But when you actually translate, do a literal translation of that particular thing in their native tongue, it sounds absolutely perfect,
Correct.
right? So now assume this mother tongue as the binary codes that computer understands.
Right.
Correct. And then the programming languages are the ones that it acquires going forward. Okay. So it understands these programming languages, but how does it understand? It actually translates that into its own what do you say, mother tongue, right? So now this translation is called as compiling, as Shreya rightly pointed it out. And then this native language that it has is binary codes, right? Zeros and ones. It doesn't understand anything more than that. And then I'm sure both of you have watched the videos that I sent you before, which talked about how what is internet and then how data is transferred over internets. It was all bits and bytes, right?
Zeros and ones.
Ones and zeros, nothing else, right?
Yes.
So that's as easy as it. So programming language is just another language which you used to speak or give instructions to computer. Okay, so that computer can translate it and then understand it and perform certain action, right? So since it is not a human, so it doesn't have emotions as of now, right? So going forward, you may never know. So as of now, it doesn't have a feeling. So yeah, you're just giving instructions to that, and it is following that. Okay, going forward, your Alex and Siri might disobey you as well, right?
Okay.
Okay, so that's about what is programming language. And coming to JavaScript, it is just one another programming language out there in the market, out of many that you find. So generally, what happens is you will find languages which are class oriented or function oriented. Okay, and then behind the scene, they all get converted into objects, and then those objects get compiled or transpiled whatsoever, and then get converted into your ones and zeros, and your computer will understand and perform the actions. That again, it's all same. Okay, and then JavaScript is actually object driven. Okay, so they say for JavaScript it is function first language. Okay, it understands functions, so everything in JavaScript is a function.
Right.
Okay, so that's how we treat it as. Okay, even function is an object again, so it is object first, function first, whatsoever you want to put it as. Okay,
Okay.
now so going forward, so what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and then give a really quick what do you say intro about how you can use JavaScript in Google Chrome. Okay, so right now you don't see anything, but let me just go ahead and then click on this, and then you will see that I'm opening browser console right now, right? So the first thing that we will learn is how to put comments in JavaScript. So this is how you put a single line comment. Okay, this is a single line comment. It is so how do you add a single line comment? You just put two forward slashes. Okay, And then how do you add multi-line comment? Because sometimes your comment might be little lengthier, it might go into multiple lines, right? So you might want to add a
Star.
multiple line. So I'll just add /star
Star.
star /, and then if you want to break it, you can just break it. Okay, and then you say this is a
Multi-line comment.
multi-line comment, right? So that's how you put it as. Okay, so single line comment, you just put 2 forward slashes, and multi-line comment, we put / followed by star, and then before you close it, you will again have star and then followed by a /. Okay, and for each line you have a star preceding.
Okay.
Okay. So now the reason why we learned about adding comments first rather than going into code and then learning about other things is that I just want you guys to start adding comments to each and every line that you write in the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the reason.
Yeah.
Now so let's just go ahead and then get started. So the JavaScript has your generally what are the things that you generally work with is you have numbers, right? And you work with strings, you work with objects, right? So you are actually talking about different data types. Okay, different data types, right? So before we get into that, so let's understand even more simpler concepts first. Okay, so I'm writing everything in browser console. Okay, and then it is working exactly as I expect it to be in a JavaScript environment. Okay, the reason is Chrome engine is is using V8. Chrome is built on JavaScript, right? So browsers are supposed to be supporting JavaScript. Okay, that's the reason you go to any browser and then you start typing things in the console. You'll find that it works exactly like a JavaScript environment. So it may not work with ES6 standard, but it will still work for your ES5. And then again, we'll learn about what is ES5 and ES6 standards going forward. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see if we can do a simple mathematical operation. So let's see if I can enter 1, and then I see it is working all good. Okay, and then let's see if I can enter 1 plus 2, and it is actually calculating the sum and then giving it. Okay, so this is more like a IDE. Okay, for your JavaScript development, but obviously you cannot write whole program in console because it might get wiped right when you click on clear console, or when you refresh it's just gone, right? So but it is a good place where you can just go ahead and then practice stuff. Okay, you can do 1 minus 2, you can 1 plus 2. Okay, you can do 2 divided by 3. Okay, or you can do 3 into 2, whatever, right? And then you see that it works fine. And then if you try to do something uneasy, you can see how it behaves as well, right? So 3 by 0 is infinity, just like we know. And then if you precede a number with 0, it actually is not supposed to be considered, right? We generally consider it as 1, right? And then when you divide any number, when you divide 0 by any number, again the result is 0. So you can see that it performs simple mathematical operations. Okay, then so but all these things
JavaScript
that
doesn't require any code.
right now it doesn't. When you so when we are doing the simplest mathematics in browser console, it doesn't, because this is a IDE. Okay, development environment. This is more like an integrated development environment. So it just parses things right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and then run about the next thing. Okay, which is about how do we print things. So again, string can be put it in double quotes or single quotes, but the result you always see is double quotes. Okay, that's one of the standards. Again, we will see why it is actually giving double quotes going forward. So right now you just know that you can put strings in both double quotes and single quotes. Okay, so that's the thing. And then going forward, let's see if I can multiply a string with number. Can I? No. Okay, because it clearly gives me an error saying it is not a number. Okay, it is not a number. So that's why you do not get it. But let's see if we can multiply with a string value. Again, you cannot do it, because though both of them are string, the operator that you're using is supposed to be used on what?
Numbers.
It's not supposed to be used on strings. So but if you go and start do the same thing in Python, so you might actually see a different result. Okay, so each and every programming language have its own way of doing things. So let me just go ahead and then quickly open command prompt, say Python. Hopefully I have Python. Did not know it opened this. Okay, for some reason it's opening Microsoft Store. Okay, I think I do not have it. That's the reason it's opening it. Anyways, let me just go ahead and then open Python Reader online, and you will see online Python Reader. I'm just opening a random one. Okay, and then I'm doing this. Can you see this? I'm doing hello world into 3. Clicking on it, and then what do you see? Hello world
Data
dot.
hello world.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I showed you an example with Python is each programming language has its own rules that you need to be
Depreciation.
that it follows, and then you need to be understanding it better.
Okay.
So that's the reason it's always better to start with JavaScript and then go ahead and then learn Node.js or React.js. Okay, because you know how things work well before you actually get into it. Okay. Now again, sorry, so let me just come back and then see. So what is the other thing that which led to the evolution of JavaScript? So think about why JavaScript would have gotten evolved. Can you think of any scenarios?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I'm just saying, can you imagine why JavaScript got evolved? Why would you think JavaScript got evolved? Right? You had Java, you had other server languages, right? So which were all good, which were working fine. So you had no problem. So why did JavaScript suddenly come into picture? So why some
Maybe
new
it was the
programming languages
simplest.
comes into picture? So that's the question. Why a new programming language suddenly gets popular?
Because it makes the work simpler, reduces time.
Yeah, so I think that's one way to put it clearly, because whenever you find a new programming language out there in the market, right, it is actually out there to address few drawbacks in other programming languages. Okay, for example, traditionally when we had Java and other languages, right, so before Java you had COBOL and then whatsoever, Pascal and whatsoever, right?
Yes.
Right. So you mostly used to do things only in the DOS environment, right? You did not even come to actual coding part, which you would see in the GUI, right? So later you had started getting GUI and stuff. Okay, so during that time you had programming languages which were predominantly used at the server side. So whenever you want to hit a website, right, so what happens? You're calling say google.com, okay, and then you're searching for an image. Okay, it goes there, it fetches the image from server, and then whatever you see is actually a server page. Okay, and the moment server is down or the moment your internet is down, your page is gone. Okay, because everything is actually coming from is getting rendered from server. Okay, if there is no connection, there is absolutely nothing that you can do in your browser. Okay, even there is a small glitch, for example, even there is a 1 second glitch, and then you clicked on a like button or share button, and then your internet had a glitch during the same time, your whole page reloads. Okay, and then you might have to scroll down to that particular post, that particular comment, right, which had like 5,000 comments, and then you were actually liking on one of them, right? It's very difficult to track those kind of things, right? So that led to manipulation, the evolving of JavaScript and jQuery. Okay, so jQuery predominantly is a JavaScript library which was used in order to manipulate DOM elements. Okay, but why JavaScript was introduced? JavaScript was introduced in order to make sure that things can stay persisted in client. There are things that could have been avoided in server side, basically. For example, you want to perform 2 plus 3, so the same cannot be sent back to server and then get computed and then coming back to us. It could have gotten calculated in your client machine also, because client is also using some i5 processor and stuff. So why not just use part of his machine in order to compute or do some operation. That is the idea.
Okay.
That is where client side programming languages arrived. So JavaScript, though it initially arrived as a client side programming languages, it also built its stronghold on the backend part or server side part using Node.js. So that's that came later on, but predominantly it was introduced as a client side language, right, which was used to in order to manipulate DOM elements or do some operation at the client side, so that it can reduce some burden on the server side. As I said, even if you're sending 1 plus 2 or 1 minus 2, or you're sending say 1000 rupees got deducted from 2000 rupees, so you have negative balance, whatever it could be, right? Everything was getting calculated in the server and then coming back. So everybody is doing some silly things, and then each of those requests go to server. Server is no matter how big server you have, it's not enough, right? It's not always enough, right? Because it is getting overloaded with silly requests all the time, right? That's the idea.
Okay.
Now going forward, okay, so these are the things that I wanted to do on the first day. So which is so getting Node.js installed in your local machine, getting VS Code installed in your local machine, and then maybe few formatting plugins such as ESLint, Prettier, and Live Server. Okay, and then we will just go ahead and then create a JavaScript file, and we'll try to run it from command prompt, and then we'll see if we can do the rest of the operations going forward. Okay, so
I have already installed.
yeah, so I know you have. So we are also talking about Sumit here.
Yeah, I was installed it.
Okay, so let's if you have installed, so let's just go ahead and then quickly have a look at them. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop sharing, and then I want Sumit to share his screen. Okay, now go to command prompt and then show me how you are sure that you have installed Node.js in your machine. Can you show me how do you verify that you have installed JavaScript or Node.js in your machine?
Node.js. I have installed means I have my programming file.
Correct, but how do you verify? That's the question.
Means I have to type Node.js.
Type just Node, that's enough. Okay, so now you know that you have installed Node 16 version. Okay, can you see that Node version 16.3?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's quickly go to your Chrome browser, and then can you just type Node.js over there and then open the official website?
This one.
Yes. Now, can you see this? So you can see that 14.17.1 is LTS, and whereas 16.4.0 is current. Okay.
Yes.
So generally, what we prefer is we just go ahead and then do our coding in LTS version. Okay. So your production ready code would generally be in your LTS version. Okay. So the reason is LTS stands for long term support. Okay. I think it's right there below there, right? Long term support schedule, right? Just click on that.
This.
Yes, please. Okay, so if you scroll down and you can see that Node.js 14 is active. Okay, and then it's going to be there till October end 2021. Okay, so its long-term support is still that particular time, and after that it is going into maintenance phase.
Maintenance.
Okay, and after maintenance phase it will be no longer supported. Okay, you will not so if there are any bugs or whatsoever, it will no longer be supported. Okay, now if you look at Node.js 15, so generally the trend in JavaScript is that this Node.js versioning is that you go with even number of versioning. Okay, the odd number of versioning is not that popular as per se. Okay, so So after Node.js 14, it's going to be Node.js 16, which is going to come. Okay, so which will be somewhere between November 2021, and it's going to be there till November 2022. Okay, so that's the long-term support for it. Can you see that? Right, Node.js 16, and then you have Node 17, Node 18 coming in. So that's a roadmap that you have for JavaScript going forward. Correct? Now, so generally, as I said, if you are building a production ready code, and it's going to be going out in the market, say like in a month or something, it's good to go ahead with LTS version. Okay. So that's one thing. And then coming back, so I see that you have installed Node.js in your machine, which is good. And then we also know that you have VS Code in your machine, right?
Yeah.
And then same is true for Shreya also. Shreya has done some
Yes.
development before, so I'm sure she has Node.js. Okay. So,
Yes.
so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to install some plugins, as I said. Okay. So go to your VS Code.
Yes.
Control C. You can see you're in Node environment, right? Exit from there. Type exit and then or Control C.
Not exit.
Yeah, just Control C. Yeah.
Should I
Okay.
also open command prompt, or I can directly?
You can directly open VS Code. It's fine.
VS Code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So go to that blocks icon on left hand side. Last one. Yes. So you are seeing extensions here. Okay. So let's go ahead and then type first one, which is ESLint.
ES.
Yes. The first one, correct. Okay. So go ahead and then install that, and then you also see third one, which says ES7 React Redux
Yes, sir.
GraphQL whatever. Yeah, just do that also. Okay. And then you have something called as Prettier. Go ahead and then type Prettier.
This.
Yes. Okay, install this, and then the final one that we want is live server. Okay, so these are just extensions which are going to make your life a little easier. Okay, so by default,
Which
you will
one
have
you told after
For what is?
ESLint and between ESLint and Prettier?
1 second share. So you will see all the list of commands in a while. You can also see it right there. ES7 React Redux GraphQL. Can you see that? That's the one we were talking about.
Okay.
So see it on Sumit's screen.
What is the last one?
Yeah, just a second. Let her install live server.
Live.
Yes.
Server.
Type live server.
This one.
Yes.
This one.
Okay. Go ahead and in. Okay, you already have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool then. So just hope you have also installed everything, Shreya.
Yes.
Okay. Cool then. So let's go ahead and then work with our new with our first JS file, which is create a file now by clicking on that. Yes, correct. So and then create a file, any name, say main.js or something. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can we can format that later. This is just a small example, so we are good. Okay. So okay, if you want to do that, then go ahead and then create a subfolder called as day one.
Day1.js.
Yeah, go ahead. Day1.js and then come out. So now here you can just type 2 plus 3 or 1 plus 2, whatever you want to do. Okay. So just type whatever, right? Whatever operations we just learned, right? Okay. Do not run that. Okay. Do not run that play button. You are supposed to use command prompts. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. So type node
Where?
in the terminal. Terminal got opened the moment you clicked on that, right? So terminal got opened. So node and then space, type D and then press tab. Oh, okay. So it's
Yes.
under JavaScript, right? So go backspace, type J and then tab. No, node should be still there. We are running that
Node,
particular.
Node.js.
Just node. Okay, just node. Space. Type a J and then press tab. Tab, not space. Okay, and so you just go back. Okay.
I have to present my screen.
Yes. Go ahead and then start presenting. He accidentally clicked on restart.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so go ahead and then create a JS file.
Yes, I have created day1.js.
Okay, so go ahead and then say console.log. Sorry, just type 2 plus 3 and then in the next line type console.log 2 plus 3. Okay, so the reason is that that inside 2 you try
Okay.
So now run it from your terminal.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you run it? Node and then as I said, space J and then put a tab because it will automatically take you to the JavaScript folder. If you press a tab,
Okay.
you're searching for tab button.
Okay. Now press.
No, I think it took you to JavaScript .txt. Oh, you are under Git learning. Sorry. So type G first because you are under Git learning. Git
No,
learning, JavaScript, and day1.js, right? You're supposed to go there.
out of Git learning.
No, you are not got up. Yeah, see.
Okay.
Okay, so navigate there. Okay, node, Git learning / JavaScript / no, that is what. So you don't have to type everything. That's the thing I was trying to teach you guys. Okay.
Okay. No.
Node and then say G and then press G
Okay.
and then press tab.
Okay.
Don't put a space there. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
See, and then put / and then type J because you'll go to JavaScript now. Sorry, backslash. My bad.
Okay.
Tab. Okay, it's not working. Just get into Git learnings and then try this. CD first do CD Git learnings and then inside that we'll start doing this.
Okay.
So the thing is, you just type tab. Okay, it'll automatically take the path. That's what CD and then
Learning. Okay.
CD space. No, you don't need learnings. Okay, fine.
Then again node
Yeah.
J and tab. Still not working.
Because you are under Git space learnings, but you are here in the left hand side. You are under Git _ learning. Two different folders. Close this terminal. Kill this terminal.
Okay.
How do you kill this? No, don't close VS Code. I just talked about closing or killing the terminal. I did not talk about closing VS Code altogether.
Okay, got it.
Sumit, you did an awesome job.
Yeah. So my just
Okay.
just repeat laptop.
Okay, terminal is loading up. Okay, so you see you are already under Git learning, so let it be there. Okay, so just directly type node and then J and then press a tab to get into JavaScript and then for a backslash and then say day1 or just say D and then press tab also it works.
D and tab.
Yeah, right. So this is how you see it. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is if you don't have to write full folder name and file name. If you press 1 or 2 letters there and then press tab, it will give you a hint on what it could be.
Okay, great.
Okay, so that's how you can easily navigate. You don't have to reduce some time, some seconds anyways. Okay, so what happened is that you were actually doing 2 plus 3 and then that did not get printed, and then when you did console.log 2 plus 3 that also did not get printed because you did not save the day1. Save it and then run it again. Okay, now you will see 5. Okay, the first 5 did not get printed but second one did. The reason is first it's just calculating and then it is keeping it to yourself. You're not saying display it in the terminal. You're not saying that. In the second one, you're saying that. Okay.
Okay.
This console.log means
It is printing
C
things
term-
to, yeah, it is printing things to
in
terminal.
C terms that printf statement.
Exactly. Okay. So that's exactly what it is. Okay. Now, so what are we doing? So we are we have created a JavaScript file by clicking on new file icon, and then file name dot, the extension here is JS. Correct. So that's how you create a JavaScript file. And then how do you run it? You type node followed by file location,
Hmm.
right? So node followed by file location, and then when you hit enter, it will run that particular JavaScript file. Okay.
So we have to open the terminal also.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you expect it to be automatically running?
No,
Don't
you
click
said,
on the play
I thought
icon.
you said that don't open the terminal.
No, actually, I always say open terminal. I never say don't open terminal. Okay. Command prompt and terminals are my favorite things. Okay. So anyway, so shall I just get inside do cd JavaScript in the terminal? Yeah, cd JavaScript. Again, I told you you don't have to write everything, right?
Okay.
So just get used to this. Hit enter.
Okay.
Now run. So how do you run day1.js now? Right, because you're already in the JavaScript file. It's easy,
Folder.
right? JavaScript folder. So it is easy to run day1 directly by giving the file name. Otherwise, you have to give the relative path to that. So that's the thing that I wanted to show you. So you can do node followed by absolute path to that particular file, or you can just give that file name if you're already under that location. Okay.
Okay.
Now, so the next thing that we will see is how I mean, already told you guys that JavaScript was predominantly built in order to serve things on the client end,
Client.
right? So how do you inject this then, right? That is the question, right? So let's just go ahead and then create a HTML file
Okay.
under same JavaScript folder. Create a HTML file by clicking on that click there, new file, and say index.html or whatever HTML. Okay. Now, so type HTML. No. Okay. So just close this. Okay. Close everything. Remove those things. I think I have an extension which will do your job just fine. One sec. Let me just get that. Not Azure. I think yes. Did you install all the what do you say?
Yes.
All the things that we just talked about, extensions.
Yes.
Okay. Let's just see.
ESLint.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
ESLint.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's just type HTML there. In just HTML. Don't put tag there. In your HTML, just put HTML. Don't put any tag. Yeah. So choose the. Oh no. Choose the second one or third one.
Second one.
Yeah. Choose second or third, whichever you feel fine.
Okay.
Okay.
The
So now you see
exclamation
that.
mark also does the same.
Yeah. So you got snippet automatically.
Okay.
Okay. So now just go ahead and then edit the title and then put it whatever you want to do. So day one JavaScript or whatever, and then day one for Sumit or Shreya. Okay, chalo. So that's just what you see in the tab. Okay, that's tab heading, right? So let's see how JavaScript works here, right? So JavaScript always goes under script tag here. Okay, you can put it either under body or you can put it before that. Okay, so go ahead and then add script tag.
Script tag.
Yes, script. So
Okay.
correct. Open close. Okay, now it's already closed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, automatic closure happened. Okay, and then hit enter. So in between, so this is where in between, okay, in between the script tags is where your JavaScript code goes. Okay,
Okay.
now go ahead and then do console.log here. Console.log, and then say 2 plus 3. Okay, save this, and then click on that go live in the bottom.
Where?
In the bottom you see a blue bar, right? Footer. In your VS Code, blue
Yes,
section.
here.
There you have go live.
Okay.
Click on that. Okay, so what this will do is allow access. Oh, okay. So go ahead and do it again.
Okay.
Okay, stop that and do it again. Okay, stop that and then do it again. And if it asks you for access, just give it. Okay, fine. So it did not give you anything except the title in the top. Can you see that? Day one JavaScript,
Yes.
right? So otherwise there is absolutely nothing here. Okay, but how can you be sure that your JavaScript code got run? What did you type there? You typed console.log, right?
Yes, it is not showing.
Correct. So just go ahead and then open console in browser console. Not here, not here. Open browser console
Okay.
of your Chrome.
Yes.
You will see 5 printed there. Correct.
Yes, it's there.
Okay, because you did console.log, you're printing things to console, you're not printing it to HTML, right? So
Okay.
that's how so this is the first step. So the next thing is working with DOM elements. Okay, so that's your next step. So again,
What is DOM?
DOM is your HTML tags basically. Okay, so you want to manipulate those HTML tags, and instead of something you want to put something else. So let's go ahead and then do one thing. I think that way Sumit is clear. Under body, just add a paragraph tag or whatever, h1 tag or whatever. You can close the terminal right now, Shreya. I think we don't need terminal for this example. So under body, just add a p tag or h1 tag or whatever. Okay, so now enter some text here. One second, coming. Okay, so you can see that she has typed hi, welcome to my learning page. Save this and then you go back. You can see that that is visible, right?
Yes.
So what we'll do is we'll try to just change this. So instead of saying hi, welcome to my learning page, we'll say hi, welcome to Sumit's learning page, or we'll say hello there, right? Hello there. That's it. We will not do anything else. Okay. So how do we do it? So just look at it. So first thing, I think we talked about DOMs, right? So as I said, DOM is just this thing. What do you say? Your HTML elements, right?
Okay.
So now what element, what HTML element do you want to change? You want to change that paragraph tag.
Okay.
Correct. So where is the paragraph? Again, so DOM stands for document object model. Okay, so just in short, why I'm giving expansion for that is the next step that we are going to do is to get this element based on the current document.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and then in the under the script instead of a line console.log in the line number 11. So let's say document dot document dot get element. So can you see, you can check by class name, tag name, okay, and then animation, selections, root node, whatever. Okay, so currently let's go ahead and then choose by ID. Okay, we're going to add an ID to paragraph tag. Okay, sorry, your p tag. So just go down to line number 13 and then add a ID equal to say Sumit or something there, or add Shreya there. No, under p. Under p tag, not there, line number 13. After p, after p, right after
Here?
p,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
inside the tag only.
Inside
Say
the tag.
ID equal to, put anything.
Number or
No, under string just put something.
okay.
Okay, Shreya, and then so now use the same Shreya in that above thing. Okay, and then say dot inner HTML equals to no before that ending. So we did get element by ID, right? So now dot inner, type inner and you will see inner HTML. Yeah, click
Okay.
on that, equals. Okay, now type whatever string that you want to see now, instead of hello welcome to my Shreya, hello welcome to Shreya's page, right? So type a string here,
Okay.
whichever you want to see now in. So it will replace line number 14. Put whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Say welcome to day 1. Okay, that's it, and then you can close this. Okay, so save this and then come back and see what gets printed.
Type error. 11.
Okay, so just go back, inner HTML of null. Uncaught type error. Sorry, so go back. Sorry, I did not see that.
Oh, yeah.
Uncaught type error, cannot set property inner HTML of null. Okay, so it is assuming that there is no such.
This error here.
Is Shreya spelling wrong? No. So it is not able to find the document by that particular thing. Document dot get element by ID, and then ID equal to
Should
Shreya.
I remove these quotes here? Or it,
No, let it be there. Let it be there. So that is required actually. That is required. Okay, so let me just go ahead and then share my screen and then quickly do this. Okay, so
should I stop sharing?
yes, please. Let me go ahead and then share my screen, entire screen, share this. Hope you are able to see this. Okay,
Yes.
so currently I have created a file called as helloworld.html, and then so I have written some commands, blah 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 here. I'm just gonna go live,
Okay.
and then you can see that this has come up. Okay, so some things are there here. Okay, so the thing that I've done is the moment I click on it, it will change.
Okay.
Okay, so previously it was something else, right? Initially it was unchanged text, and then it got changed to something. Okay, so I had written these examples in previous classes anyways. Okay, so let's go ahead and then break it down. So what did I do? Okay, so this is actually the script is coming from JS file. So let
Increase the font size.
sure.
Okay.
Okay, can you see this now?
Yes.
Okay, so just look at how I added demo and class to this, and then I just added class to this. Okay, so what I did, what was done was, so the moment we clicked on that, right? So moment this button was clicked, so we are calling a function called as change text. And then in change text, what we are doing, we are getting the element either by ID or by class name. Can you see this? Or by class name, and then we are changing the inner text.
Okay.
Okay, and then changing it to this. Okay, so similarly what we were doing was, so we were directly typing trying to run this. Let's come back and then see. Can you see this? Now it is running all good. It was supposed to be unchanged, right? Okay, let me just comment line number 27. Now you will see it was supposed to be unchanged text 2. Okay, so in your example what we did was we just added a get element by ID, and then we were trying to change the inner text. Got it? And then it was giving some error, right? So maybe some spelling mistake was there over there. Okay, so you can see that it got changed. Okay, so for example, I think in your case you are like hi, welcome to Shreya's classes. Okay, and then in second one it was like hi, Sumit accidentally restarted his machine. Okay, and then so we have so what are we looking at now? We are checking the element by ID and then we are changing the inner text. Okay, so when you say ID, you're just clicking on this. But when you say demo, get element by class name, you have two of them. Okay, so which we'll learn tomorrow. You have two of them, correct? But when you say ID, it is only one. So that's why you are actually changing only first one. So the moment I come back and then see here, if I refresh this, you'll see this is changed by text is coming up here, but this text is right there. Welcome to share is not coming up. So if I just comment this, welcome to share will come.
Okay.
So I'm again going back and then I'll say I want to change this particular guy's what do you say text. Okay, so let's come back and then say hi, welcome to shares classes, right? So let's just put it here. Okay, I'm saying he intentionally restarted his machine. And when do I want to run this? I want to run this the moment. So let's say if I want to run this as soon as the page loads, right? I don't want to display he accidentally restarted his machine. I want to show this message. So how do I do it? Either I can add a new ID here, okay, which says Sumit. Okay, and then if I want to use it, I'll just use it here. Document.get element by ID called as Sumit, and then inside that I'll say hi. Instead of saying hi, welcome day one, I'll just say he intentionally did it. So if these texts are confusing, I'll just want to comment that. Okay.
Okay.
And come back and you'll say he intentionally restarted. Instead of saying he accidentally restarted, it says he intentionally did it. Okay. If I comment this, then the script is not working. It is just displaying the plain HTML. Okay, so JavaScript is used to manipulate this DOM elements. So DOM stands for this entire document. Okay, this entire HTML document. So under that, what you're doing, you're getting the element based on ID or based on class or based on certain tag name or whatsoever. Okay, and you're manipulating things. Okay. Sumit, is it clear? Or your hello?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, so let me again come back and then do this. So I'm commenting everything. So now this is a plain HTML, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what I did was I just went ahead and then added h1 tag and says hello world.
Mhm.
So this is fine.
Yeah.
What happens? Hello world gets displayed here,
Yeah.
correct? Now I don't want hello world to get displayed. Okay, I want it to get displayed. The moment it loads, it needs to display hello there. It should not display hello world. One thing to do is I can say hello there. Okay, one thing to do it, I can just change it as hello there, it works. Okay, but how can you do it programmatically? That's what we are learning. So I said JavaScript is used in order to manipulate DOM elements. Okay, so how do you do that? Okay, so for example, I'm just going back to previous tags only. So assume that instead of h1 this is a p tag, paragraph tag. Okay, see, so still the text is same. Okay, so now for simplicity what I'm doing is, say you want to change it, right? You want to change it, so just go ahead and then add a ID to this, ID or class, whatever. So add a new parameter and then call it as change this, something like that, whatever. Okay, add a ID to this and then say document dot get element by ID. Okay, I said this entire HTML is a document, and in this if you want to get something, you can either get that particular element by ID or by class name, by name, by tag name. Okay,
So
by root node.
in place of ID,
Yeah,
in place of ID we type class, so we have to do get element by class.
yes, exactly. So if it is class, you should do get element by class. That's it.
What is the difference between ID and class?
Nothing. Okay, so a class can be applied to multiple nodes. Okay, even an ID can be applied to multiple nodes, but ID, so mostly we use to specify specific node, whereas class can go in general. Okay, so that's more like a HTML concept. But anyways, so class is in generally given to a block of elements, whereas ID is actually defined for a specific element. Okay, so when I say block of element, it could be a div. Inside your div, you might have multiple paragraphs. Okay, okay. uh, Sorry, one sec. So let's just let be there only three of them. Okay, so now if I come back, you'll see that there are four hello worlds, and then we want to change the first one. So how I do it, I just say document get element by ID, and then say put that ID here, and then say inner text is equal to hello there. Okay, so if I do it, what happens is the moment this HTML page reloads, hello there will come up. Correct. Now you asked me the difference between ID and class. Now let me I said that it is applicable on block of elements. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say instead of get element by ID, I'm going to say get element by class. Okay, and then say demo, and then say hello there. Okay, and you see that it doesn't work. It doesn't work because currently when you're doing this get element by class name, right, you want to see what elements got printed. So let's just go ahead and then do this. Okay, so I think I'll do this also. For this also, you'll know what actually gets selected. So yeah, this is a good way of debugging things. Okay, you want to be, if you want to be sure which element got selected, just do this get element by ID and then print that in console.log. Okay, come back and then look here. Okay, so in the first one it's actually giving you hello world. Okay, in the first one it is actually giving you hello world because that is what was there here. Okay, we later changed it to hello there, but initially when you say document dot get element by ID, it is actually giving you hello world. Okay, because you are printing inner text as well. But if you don't print inner text and then see what is getting printed, you will see that it is actually giving you that entire paragraph with ID has changed this one. Correct, line number 12. Okay, now but for the second one it is actually giving you a div element. Okay, and then if you see there you have children's. How many children's you have? You have three children's, right? These ones. Okay, so what you need to do, if you want to manipulate them, you can actually so instead of saying this, what do you say, so if you want to change that text for them, what you have to do, you have to say get element by class name and then say demo and then say dot children. So come here, sorry. So see what is it, it is I think zeroth element. After that it is zeroth index, right? So let's say 0 and then say dot and then say children, right? Can you see this? Under 0 you have children, and under children you have 3 p tags. Okay, so there it goes. Okay, so I mean you have to go for 0th element again, you go this 0th children and then you do inner text and stuff. Okay, that's how you change things. Okay, now you can see that even second one got changed. So if you want to change third and fourth, again it is simple. So I'll go ahead and then copy this, put it 2 more times, and then it is children 1 and then children 2. Come back, you'll see all of them got changed to hello there. Okay, so when you are in doubt, go ahead and do console.log for that particular get element by ID or get element by class name, and then see what is getting printed in the console, and based on that you can actually go ahead and then manipulate them. You know what functions are there inside that, and then you can manipulate. Okay, if you're getting confused. Thanks for watching day 1 of Road to JavaScript. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.